Welcome back to the studio. Today I'm painting a field of trees dressed in their spring blooms, a piece that's really about depth, texture, and that soft, magical moment when color first returns to the landscape after a long, quiet season. There's something about spring blooms that always pulls me back to the easel. Maybe it's the promise in them, the sense that even after stillness, things come back to life in the most colorful way. I always start with the bones of the piece, the trees themselves. Trees are the architecture of a painting like this. Everything else, the grass, the sky, the blooms, all of it exists in relationship to these trunks and branches. So I begin by laying down a foundation of light brown across all 4 trunks. This first layer is just my base, the skeleton everything else will grow from. It's a simple, quiet step, but it matters more than people realize. It sets the warmth and the undertone for the whole piece. Once that base layer is dry, I start layering, building up richer, darker browns over the trunks, one pass at a time, to create depth the way real bark catches light on one side and falls into shadow on the other. I'm painting in little pockets of shadow and light within the trunks themselves, letting the color pool a bit here, thin out a bit there, so it never looks flat. And then I start adding limbs, branching outward in different directions, some thick, some delicate. This is honestly one of my favorite stages. This is where the trees stop being shapes on paper and start to feel alive, almost like they have a personality of their own. With the trees taking shape, it's time to bring in the world around them. I start at the foreground, the grass and the hillside rolling underneath the trees, giving them a place to stand. Then I move back into the background with just a light touch of blue, letting it stay soft and atmospheric, almost hazy, so it doesn't compete with the trees. That's a trick I use a lot. Keep the background quiet, so your eye naturally goes to the subject. Now I let the piece dry for a bit. Sometimes I'm patient and let it air dry naturally while I clean my brushes and reset my palette. Other times, especially if I'm eager to keep the momentum going, I'll speed that up with a hot air gun. Either way, this pause matters. Painting wet into wet at this stage would muddy everything I just built. Once it's dry, the fun part begins, the blooms. I start adding leaves to the trees with a light, bright magenta, just letting it dance across the branches in loose, playful little strokes. No 2 clusters are the same, and that's intentional. It's what makes it feel organic instead of stamped on. I let the leaves dry a little, and while that's happening, I shift down to the grass blades at the bottom of the painting, partly for the look of the piece, but honestly, partly strategy. Working down here keeps my hand and my brush away from those leaves while they're still setting, so I don't accidentally smudge all that careful blossom work. The grass starts out looking almost like sticks, just simple, straight little strokes standing up from the ground. But then I go back in, working the color, blending it, softening the edges around the base of the trunks, until it starts to feel like real grass swaying at the edge of the field, catching a little breeze. With the grass finished, I move back up to the branches and start layering in purple leaves, building right on top of that magenta, so the 2 colors start to blend and talk to each other. Then, very softly, I tuck in some teal leaves around and over the others, just enough to add a cooler, calmer note into all that warmth. It's a small contrast, but it changes the whole temperature of the piece. I also go back and darken the blue directly behind the branches. It's a small move, but it does a lot of work. It pushes the trees forward, separates them from the sky, and gives the whole piece more depth and dimension without me having to touch the trees again. From there, It's really about layering and patience, adding a little more light pink, a little more purple, a little more teal throughout the branches, filling in the gaps, balancing the colors so the blooms feel full and lush, but never overworked or heavy. And to finish, I go back into the grass one more time, adding a bit more green, a little more texture, grounding the piece, and making sure the bottom of the painting feels just as alive as the branches above it. And then, the best part of every painting, signing my name. Thanks so much for painting along with me today. I love sharing this process with you, slowing down and watching a piece come together layer by layer. If you enjoyed watching this one bloom, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use a little spring color in their day. I'll see you in the next one.